Well, this may take a while. Yep, this is going to take a while, isn't it? Great. So, I think I'll just upload this as a separate video and you can listen to me talk, because if you're that much of an asshole that you're going to watch all my videos, then you'll just love hearing my voice during this. So I'm going to title this video Update in Progress, because that's what it's going to be called. See, I was going to do Far Cry 4, start playing it. I figured, haven't played it yet, I might as well record my, initial time through the game. Like, record the whole thing, get it all for posterity's sake and for the internet to enjoy. You're welcome, internet. But then I remembered that, well, I guess there's a plus and a minus side to this, because, one, Far Cry 4, I got it on the 360, which, on the 360, my controller is kind of dumb because it likes to walk me forward, and the 360 is a little bit slower and less pretty than the Xbox One. The UI is better. But yeah, there's that. So yeah. But the good side is my capture card is not compatible with my Xbox One, which is, I guess, kind of bad news. But the good news is that I can use my capture card on Far Cry 4, so I'll be doing more goofy videos where I pretend I'm a psychopathic murderous explorer running around through the jungle killing endangered animals, and perhaps in this game, we'll be able to throw rhinoceroses or rhinos, fuck it, and elephants into the mix of things that I will kill for no good reason whatsoever. And I've seen some gameplay videos of this, mostly Rooster Teeth, so they were kind of just jacking around the whole time, but looked like there's some pretty awesome guns in this game. Figure I can do some pretty fun shit with it. I'll have to beat like the campaign and stuff first, so it won't be traditionally like the other ones where I just start out doing, just running around at random and teleporting all over the place. I'll have to do the story first, and there won't be any like trans-dimensional vortex warps when I get bit by a snake and my capture strokes out and then I go play Blood Dragon. But yeah. So this is just the download part. Figure might as well give you an update on what's going on. Today is January 15th, 2015. It's currently 5:14 p.m. I'm sitting on my bed and talking into a microphone while looking at my computer and my TV back and forth. My computer background is like a little mashup wallpaper of Nirvana and like Kurt Cobain and stuff, because I like Nirvana a lot. My room is messy-ish. I go back to college next week, so I might actually be making, I won't be making as many videos. I said that I would be making more over the winter break, which I did not do. I think I made one or two, one of which I only uploaded because I knew that the purpose of the video was to show you how to cheat in the Crota's End raid, and they recently patched that. Which is great, because, they give you nothing and they take away everything. Thanks, Bungie. Where's the story with Destiny? Oh, it's nowhere? Yeah, thanks. Fucking great. You teased that game in 2006 with Halo 3 ODST. You had since 2006 to work on it. Let's count them. 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You had 8 fucking years to come up with a story for that game, and you did not. Or ODST might have been in 08. Okay, even if... whatever. You had at least 6 years to come up with a fucking story for that game, and you came up with nothing. Even the Grimoire cards, where people say the story is supposed to be, they're just, you know what? I'll read you off some. I'll read some off right now. Let's see. Go to Destiny. I got my handy dandy app on my phone. Grimoire score. My Grimoire score is 2625. So, I mean, it'd probably be higher if the Grimoire wasn't glitched in some places. Alright, so we'll do the Traveler. That big, floating, stupid space orb that's supposedly something. Here's the description of the Traveler. Everything changed with the coming of the Traveler. It gave us gifts that transformed the solar system and the nature of human life. It ushered in the Golden Age, a time of miracles, but it never shared its deepest secrets. Where did the Traveler come from? Why did it offer us so much? Did it know it was being hunted across the stars? And why, when the darkness came, did it choose to stay and fight for us? Now the Traveler hangs, silent, above humanity's final sanctuary. It may be healing, it may be dying. It gave everything it had to save us, and now its power lies within us, its guardians. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Why did it do this? Why did it do that? Why is it still here? Is it alive or is it dead? You tell us nothing. You gain nothing from that except more questions. How did it fight? It's a giant fucking space ball. Is it like the Death Star and it can shoot a fucking laser and blow up like planets? And what's the darkness? Is it just black fog? Or is it the Fallen, the Vex, the Cabal, and the Hive? Which one's which? Are they all darkness? If so, then why do they fight each other? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. It never shared its deepest secrets. Yeah, because there probably are no secrets. It's just a fucking stupid ball. But let's move on. The ghost fragments about the Traveler. Ghost Fragment 1. Dreams of Alpha Lupi. You have lived as invisibly as possible, flicking from solar system to solar system, making grand plans, overseeing the culturing of civilizations before leaving in a blink. But you have no recollection of ever wanting worship or even thanks from those blessed by you. But memory is heavy now. It feels like lead and neutronium and electro-weak matter fashioned into a moon-sized ball that you must carry as you move. Now your flight is rapid. Your vast mind infected with such dread and toxic doubt that you find yourself afraid of the simple act of thought, and it is your children you must turn to now in time of need. That's the gayest poem I've ever read. It still tells me nothing about the Traveler. Let's see, Ghost Fragment 2 about the Traveler. More dreams of Alpha Lupi. This has been such a long chase. This will be the place you will fight and win. But do you really know why you go where you go, and where this journey is taking you? The chase leads you where you need to be, you believe. Unless you're being pushed. Unless you're being pushed. Still tells me nothing. Alright, there's only one more ghost fragment for the Traveler. Another, the dreams of Alpha Lupi. The knife had 1,000,000 blades, and you were giant, powerful, and swift. But the knife pinned you, cut your godly flesh away. Very little was left, you are sure, because you feel insignificant now. The hard, slick heart of your soul, that is what remains. A body small as a river stone, and just as simple. You picture yourself as a piece of indigestible grit, a nameless nothing hiding among other nameless stones. Perhaps you glitter like a gem, yes? Pride makes you hope so. If only you could see yourself. But you have no eyes. Not the dimmest sense survives. What lives is memory, and what slim portion of these thoughts can you trust? The knife stole much more than your body. What the fuck does that mean? So the Traveler is a giant, stupid space ball, and this guy, Alpha Lupi, dreams poems about it. That's all I'm getting from it. Alright, now how about the Exo Stranger, who is like, I don't even have time to explain why I don't have time to explain. Let's see what the Grimoire says about her, the Exo Stranger. Stories of an Exo who walks in the darkness without a ghost have long haunted the tower. Legends say this anomaly dissolves in and out of the world, intangible and elusive, as if she is a visitor from somewhere beyond. Some believe she's the last of an ancient Exo Squadron fighting a long-forgotten war. Others dismiss her as a hallucination caused by exposure to Vex technology. But there are those who maintain that her intervention saved their lives or averted unspeakable catastrophes. Well, which is it? Is it all of them or is it none of them? Doesn't tell me anything. Oh, but wait, good news, there's a ghost fragment about the Exo Stranger. Let's see what it says. I stand here now and now and now many times. This view, this ground. This is where I always choose to stand. I put my feet where I put my feet before and where I will again, and I look at the sky. Great things moving, rendered small with distance, lesser things not moving, watching me. I always stand here, resolute, then fall back to that point, there, where everything shatters. The sky isn't special here, certainly no better than any other sky, but it's the view I know best. The silent avalanche begins, rock and dust, falling chaos. Machines, as a rule, hate chaos. Our enemies outflank us from below, above, left, right, before, beyond. The traveler, shattering. There are always the dead. Their names shift. Sometimes I think I see myself among the dead, but I am resolute. The fuck does that mean? It mentions the traveler again. It shatters, and it's in the sky, and she sees it. Apparently she's from the future, or from the past, from an alternate fucking dimension. Let's see here. What else? Legends and mysteries. We've heard the legends about the Black Garden. Let's see. This is the legend, the Black Garden. I am Pujari. These are the visions I have had of the Black Garden. The traveler moved across the face of the iron world. It opened the earth and stitched shut the sky. It made life possible. In these things there is always symmetry. Do you understand? No, I don't. This is not the beginning, but it is the reason. The garden grows in both directions. It grows into tomorrow and yesterday. The red flowers bloom forever. There are gardeners now. They came into the garden in vessels of bronze, and they move through the groves and rivers of thought. Okay, I guess that's the Vex. This is the vision I had when I leapt from the shores of time and let myself sink. I walked beneath the blossoms. The light came from ahead, and the shadows of the flowers were words. They said things, but I will not write them here. Fucking good, don't write them here. Yeah, thanks for not sharing. At the end of the path grew a flower in the shape of a ghost. Okay, so like Casper the Ghost or the ghosts in Destiny? Dinklebot Ghost or like, ooh, spooky ghost? At the end of the path grew a flower in the shape of a ghost. I reached out to pluck it, and it cut me with a thorn. I bled, and the blood was light. The ghost said to me, "You are a dead thing made by a dead power in the shape of the dead. All you will ever do is kill. You do not belong here. This is a place of life." "The traveler is life," I said. "You are a creature of darkness. You seek to deceive me." But I looked behind me, down the long slope where the blossoms tumbled in the warm wind and the great trees wept sap like blood or wine, and I felt doubt. When my ghost raised me from the sea, there was a thorn cut in my left hand, and it has not healed since. Then put a fucking band-aid on it, you dumb shit. What the hell? Doesn't tell me anything. Still tells me absolutely nothing. Except that this guy named Pujari has a cut on his finger. Good for you, Pujari. Then there's more ghost fragment legends. Let's read this one. The Deep Stone Crypt. I don't even know where the fuck that is. This is the tower where we were born. Not the tower, just a tower in a dream. The tower stands on a black plain. Behind the tower is a notch in the mountains where the sun sets. The teeth of the mountain cut the sun into fractal shapes, and the light that comes down at evening paints synapse shapes on the ground. Usually it's evening when we come. The ground is fertile. This is good land. We go to the tower in dreams, but that doesn't mean it's not real. Some of us go to the tower in peace. They walk through a field of golden millet, and a low warm wind blows in from their back. I don't know why this is, because the rest of us meet an army. You can ask others about the deep stone crypt. You can ask others about Deep Stone, and they'll tell you about the army. They might confess one truth, which is this. Ooh, something finally. They might confess one truth, which is this. We have to kill the army to get to the tower. What tower? Usually this starts barehanded, and somewhere along the way you take a weapon. Ask again, and if they're buzzed, they might also admit that most of us don't make it to the tower, except once or twice. None of them will tell you that the army is made of everyone we meet, the people we work with and the people we see in the street and the people we tell about our dreams. We kill them all, I think, because we were made to kill, and this is the part of us that thinks nothing about else, or about nothing else. Often I kill people I don't know, but like most of us, I knew them once in the time before one reset or another, when my mind was younger and less terribly scarred. So that is how we go back to the deep stone crypt, where we were born. What the fuck?
That makes no sense whatsoever. Absolutely zero sense. You want to know the only story that this game has? It's about the last word, a hand cannon. That is the only fucking story, and it's about a gun. And it's good. I'll read it to you because apparently this update, which is only 300 megabytes, is more like 300 gigabytes, and it's taking forever to download. I'll read you this story because it's actually a good one. Pardon me. Well, someone's home. Ghost Fragment, the last word. I am writing this from memory. Some mine, but not all. The facts won't sync with the reality, but they'll be close, and there's no one to say otherwise. So for all intents and purposes, this will be the history of a settlement we called Palamon, and the horrors that followed an all too brief peace. I remember home, and stories of a paradise we'd all get to see someday. Of a city shining even in the night. Palamon didn't shine, but it was a sanctuary of a sort. We'd settled in the heart of a range that stretched the horizon, wooded mountains that shot with purpose towards the sky. Winters were harsh, but the trees and peaks hid us from the world. We talked about moving on, sometimes, striking out for the city, but it was just a longing. Drifters came and went. On occasion they would stay, but rarely. We had no real government, but there was rule of law. Basic tenets agreed upon by all and eventually overseen by Magistrate Loken. And there you have it. No government. Until there was. I was young, so I barely understood. I remember Loken as a hard-working man who just became broken. Mostly I think he was sad. Sad and frightened. As his fingers tightened on Palamon, people left. Those who stayed saw our days become gray. Loken's protection from the fallen, from ourselves, became dictatorial. Looking back, I think maybe Loken had just lost too much of himself, his family, but everyone lost something, and some of us had nothing to begin with. My only memory of my parents is a haze, like a daydream, and a small light, like the spark of their souls. It's not anything I dwell on. They left me early, taken by dregs. Palamon raised me from there. The family I called my own, cared for me as if I was their natural-born son. And life was good. Being the only life I knew, my judgment is skewed, and it wasn't easy, pocked by loss as it was, but I would call it good, until of course it wasn't. Until two men entered my world, one a light, the other the darkest shadow I would ever know. That's the end of the first card. The second card. The man I would come to know as Jaron Ward, my third father and quite possibly my closest friend, came to Palamon from the south. I was just a boy, but I'll never forget his silhouette on the empty trail as he made his slow walk into town. I'd never seen anything like him. Maybe none of us had. He said he was only passing through, and I believed him. Still do. But life can get in the way of intent, and often does. I can picture that day with near perfect clarity. Of all the details, though, every nuance, every moment, the memory that sticks in my mind is the iron on Jaron's hip. A cannon that looked both pristine and lived in, like a relic of every battle he'd ever fought, hung low at his waist, a trophy and a warning. This man was dangerous, but there was a light about him, a pureness to his weight, that seemed to hint that his ire was something earned, not carelessly given. I'd been the first to see him as he approached, but soon most of Palamon had turned out to greet him. My father held me back as everyone stood in silence. Jaron didn't make a sound behind his sleek racer's helmet. He just looked like the heroes in the stories, and to this day, I'm not sure one way or the other if the silence between the townspeople and the adventurer was born of fear or respect. I like to think the latter, but any truth I try to place on the moment would be of my own making. As we waited for Magistrate Loken to arrive and make an official greeting, my patience got the best of me. I shook free of my father's heavy hand and made the short sprint across the court, stopping a few paces from where this new curiosity stood, a man unlike any other. I stared up at him, and he lowered his attention to me, his eyes hidden behind the thick tinted visor of his headgear. My sight quickly fell to his sidearm. I was transfixed by it. I imagined all the places that weapon had been, all the wonders it had seen, the horrors it had endured. My imagination darted from one heroic act to the next. I barely registered when he began to kneel, holding out the iron as if an offering, but my eyes locked onto the piece, mesmerized. I recall turning back to my father and seeing the looks on the faces of everyone I knew. There was worry there, my father slowly shaking his head as if pleading with me to ignore the gift. I turned back to the man I would come to know as Jaron Ward, the finest hunter the system may ever know, and one of the greatest guardians to ever defend the traveler's light. And I took the weapon in my hand, carefully, gently, not to use, but to observe, to imagine, to feel its weight and know its truth. That was the first time I held last word, but unfortunately, not the last. And then the third card. It was the fourth night of the seventh moon. 9 rises since any sign. Trail wasn't cold, but lukewarm would have been an exaggeration. Jaron had us holed by a ravine. The heavy wood along the cliff's edge caught the wind, holding back the cold, and the rush of water muffled our conversation. We had seen dual skiffs hanging low as they cut through the valley. Wasn't known fallen territory, but any more that's a dangerous assumption. There were 6 of us then. 3 less than 2 months prior, but still 1 more than we'd first turned our backs to Palman's Ash. We took a rotation for watch during the night. Movement was kept to a minimum and communication was down to hand signals and simple gestures. We could hold our own in a fight, but only the dead went looking for one. Hard truth that cut in direct opposition to our reasons for being so far from anything resembling civilization, much less our safety. The skiffs had spooked Kressler and Nada, and in truth, me as well. But looking back, I think we were all just grasping for any good reason to turn back. Not because we would turn back, but because it seemed to be our only real hope, and I think we all knew it. Forward, where we were headed, into the unknown. And following the footsteps we were. It all just started to feel like a never-ending dead end after a while. Jaron never wavered, though, not once. At least not to any noticeable degree. It was his drive, his conviction, that kept us going. And it's hard to think on, but if I'm honest, it was his death that rekindled my own fire. A fire that was all but exhausted on that cold night. He seemed— oh fuck, it's done downloading. Alright, well fuck this shit then.